Dominique Dawkins.
And Tasha Quick.
And this is Wake Up, our examination of Spike Lee's School Daze. We know that the movie was filmed in 1988 by Columbia Pictures, and it's based on the experience that Spike Lee had at Morehouse College, in which his brother died. I guess first we're going to talk about Greek life and the representation of that in the movie.
And in this film, Spike Lee, clearly the plot is about, the Greeks, Gamma, Phi Gamma, and what they had to go through to become part of this important organization. And there's many expectations of these members in Gamma Phi Gamma. And
basically, it was really... It's weird because everybody has certain expectations of, Half Pint. He was supposed to be what these guys wanted him to be so much that he put himself to the side. He was a virgin at first, and they told him to do something, and he wanted to do anything to prove that he was man enough to join. And so it's kind of like men needed the approval of other men to be accepted, and eventually that led to, humiliating themselves. And also, women needed the approval of men throughout the movie as well. Yeah, the womanizing that went on, not only did they want to force Half Pint to have sex, but they wanted to see how much sex they could have throughout the movie, and always talking about the way girls look and how they're shaped and all that good stuff eventually led the women to constantly want their approval as well.
Which also led the women to have a battle against other women, trying to, compare themselves as in, being better, which as you see in the scene, between the jigaboos and the wannabes. And all, basically the same mentality, the light skin, dark skin issue that we face still today.
Yeah, and they also looked at, hair color. And, back in, when sororities and stuff first started, you had to pass the paper bag test, and your hair had to be so straight and stuff like that. And so I think that hinted on that a lot. But also, if you're going to talk about colorism, I don't understand why they didn't want to talk about males and colorism. There wasn't, a feud between the males about light skin, dark skin. And I think that was because, they didn't... the men weren't wrapped up in women like the women were wrapped up in men. So the women were competing against light skin, dark skin thing, and the men were just trying to be cool fraternity people. Boggle from the book said that the story School Daze was a vapid, dimensionless sisters caught up mainly in men. He hinted on, they're all in college, so why aren't they aspiring to be other things other than some man's girlfriend?
Which leads us to also colorism, stemming from the two worlds of females, jigaboos and wannabes, and you have light-skinned girls and dark-skinned girls, and, whose hair is straight, whose hair is not straight, why this person needs to be in this category, and because of this, and just honestly represents, this issue that, black people have in their community now, where, we can't come together and unite and, rise above because we still have these issues within ourselves. And, Spike Lee uses this in his film, to show how it's kind of we're still slaves, even though we're not technically still slaves.
Yeah. And I think the main point behind his wake up phrase was that we don't need to concentrate so much on superficial issues such as fraternities and sororities. Not that those are superficial, but yeah, light skin, dark skin, and always competing for women or men, and we need to concentrate on real issues like what's happening in Africa or what's happening in our society in itself. They never talked about it. They wanted to talk about Africa, but they never talked about the problems that they had within the black community. And so I think his wake up phrase was supposed to be really strong, but he spread it too far across all these different issues in one movie.
It's just too broad. If you want to talk about colorism, then talk about colorism. If you want to talk about problems in Greek life, keep it there. It's just kind of difficult for some people that don't understand to wholly grasp what the point is that he's trying to come across, and you just leave the movie really heavy, really heavy.
Rita Kimpley from the Washington Post commented and said, "School Daze, with its pompous patchwork plot, is an arrogant, humorless, sexist mess." And I think she was being kind of mean about it, but pretty much, like, it was sexist, yes.
Wouldn't call it a mess.
It wasn't very humorless, but goodness gracious, like, yeah, I don't necessarily think it was a mess, but other people commented, Spike Lee had something in mind while he shot School Daze. His follow-up to the cult hit, She's Gotta Have It. Unfortunately, it's lodged behind his cranium. And I think Justin Thompson from the Washington Post, he thinks, you know, clearly he had a big idea, but I don't think he portrayed it in the right way at all, because it's very confusing. And if you just watch the movie the first time, you might just think, okay, that was about Greek life. It's pretty cool. But there's a lot of other issues in it that I don't think anybody discussed or got to
catch on to.
Yeah, because it was so deep, and I think he needed to, dumb it down for the audience a little bit. Alright, is that it? That's it. Alright, thank you guys.